As above, so below. The 11-dimensional key to unlocking ancient wisdom. For millennia, across diverse cultures and philosophical traditions, a profound principle has resonated, hinting at a fundamental interconnectedness within the fabric of reality. As above, so below, so above. This axiom, most famously attributed to the emerald tablets of Thoth Trismegistus, serves as the cornerstone of Hermetic philosophy, suggesting a mirroring and correspondence between the macroscopic universe and the microscopic world, between the spiritual realms and the material plane. It posits a universe where patterns, forces, and structures are not isolated phenomena, but rather reflections of a deeper underlying unity. This ancient wisdom invites us to perceive reality not as fragmented and disparate, but as a holistic tapestry where every thread, from the grandest cosmic filament to the subtlest quantum fluctuation, is intricately linked and mutually influential. In our contemporary pursuit of understanding the cosmos, modern science has increasingly unveiled the intricate relationships that govern the universe. From the fractal patterns observed in nature to the interconnectedness revealed by quantum entanglement, the idea of a deeply interwoven reality finds echoes in scientific discovery. It is within this intellectual landscape that the 11-dimensional model of the universe emerges, a theoretical framework that proposes a hierarchical and dynamic structure of 11 interconnected dimensions as the foundation of all existence. This model, with its unique perspective on the fundamental forces and the emergence of space-time and matter, offers a compelling lens through which to re-examine the ancient wisdom encapsulated in the principle of as above, so below, potentially providing a modern scientific context for this enduring philosophical truth. This video essay will embark on an exploration of this profound correlation. We will delve into the core tenets of as above, so below as presented in the Hermetic tradition, then revisit the fundamental principles of the 11-dimensional model. By drawing parallels between these seemingly disparate bodies of knowledge, we aim to demonstrate how the 11-dimensional model can serve as a contemporary key to unlocking the deeper meaning and potential scientific validity embedded within this ancient axiom, illuminating the intricate dance of interconnectedness that permeates all levels of reality. All right, let's dive into part 1. Unpacking as above, so below, a principle of universal correspondence. The maxim, as above, so below, is more than just a poetic phrase. It's actually a foundational principle of Hermeticism. This is a spiritual and philosophical tradition that's rooted in the legendary figure of Hermes Trismegistus, who is often associated with the Egyptian deity Thoth. The emerald tablets, which are considered a primary text of Hermetic wisdom, present this principle as a key to understanding the hidden workings of the universe. Now, to truly appreciate the potential correlations with the 11-dimensional model, it's crucial to unpack the various layers of meaning embedded within this axiom. At its most fundamental level, as above, so below speaks to a principle of correspondence. It suggests that there's a direct relationship, a mirroring, and a harmony between different planes or levels of existence. The structure and behavior observed in the macrocosm, the vast universe with its galaxies, stars, and planets, are reflected in the microcosm, the realm of atoms, molecules, and subatomic particles. This correspondence isn't necessarily one of identical replication, but rather of analogous patterns and underlying principles at play across different scales. Furthermore, the principle implies a deep interconnectedness. The above and the below aren't isolated realms, but are intrinsically linked and mutually influential. Changes in one realm can ripple through and manifest in the other. This interconnectedness suggests a universe that is fundamentally unified, where seemingly separate entities are, in fact, part of a larger, cohesive whole. The forces and energies that shape the cosmos also operate, in different manifestations, at the level of the individual and the infinitesimal. The Hermetic tradition extends this principle beyond the purely physical. Above can also refer to the spiritual, mental, and celestial realms, while below can encompass the earthly, material, and individual consciousness. Thus, as above, so below also suggests a correspondence between the spiritual and the material aspects of existence. The inner world of thoughts, emotions, and consciousness is seen as a reflection of the outer cosmic order, and vice versa. Understanding the patterns of the universe can provide insights into the workings of the human mind and spirit, and introspection can offer glimpses into the grand cosmic design. The practical application of this principle lies in its potential to provide a framework for understanding the unknown through the lens of the known. By observing patterns and laws in one realm, one can gain insights into similar patterns and laws operating in another, seemingly disparate realm. This idea has historically fueled both scientific inquiry and spiritual exploration, encouraging the search for unifying principles that govern all aspects of reality. The enduring relevance of as above, so below lies in its intuitive grasp of a universe that feels inherently ordered and interconnected. Even without the precise tools of modern science, ancient wisdom recognized a fundamental harmony and correspondence across the vast spectrum of existence. It is this profound intuition that we will now explore in the context of the 11-dimensional model. Part 2 introduces the 11-dimensional model, a hierarchical and interconnected reality. Let's take a closer look at how this perspective reshapes our understanding of the universe. The 11-dimensional model of the universe offers a contemporary theoretical framework that posits a reality far richer and more intricate than the conventional 4-dimensional space-time we typically perceive. By introducing a hierarchy of interconnected dimensions, this model provides a novel perspective on the fundamental forces, the emergence of matter, and the very structure of the cosmos. Understanding the key aspects of this model is, honestly, essential for appreciating its potential to illuminate the principle of as above, so below. So, at the foundation of the model lies this concept of a dimensional progression, starting with the 0 dimension, a singularity that represents pure potentiality, the unmanifest source from which, well, all existence springs. From there, it progresses through the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd dimensions, forming our familiar spatial reality of length, width, and depth. The 4th dimension introduces time and, importantly, the crucial element of rotation, which really imbues space with dynamism and causality. Now, beyond these foundational dimensions, the model posits a series of higher dimensions that describe increasingly complex forms of motion and interaction. The 5th dimension is wobble, the 6th is orbital motion, the 7th is orbital tilt, the 8th is galactic orbits, and the 9th is galactic orbital tilt. These dimensions, honestly, illustrate a universe in constant motion, with intricate patterns emerging at every scale. However, the true unifying power of the 11-dimensional model, especially in the context of as above, so below, actually resides in the interplay of the 10th dimension and the 11th dimension. The The 10th dimension is characterized as the expansive, deterministic drive of the universe. It represents the inherent tendency of the cosmos to expand, to push outward, and to manifest as the predictable classical physics that we observe on macroscopic scales. It's the dimension that governs the large-scale structure of the universe, as well as the deterministic laws that govern the motion of celestial bodies. So in contrast, the 11th dimension is described as the contractive quantum web. It actually embodies the universe's inherent tendency to contract, to draw inward, and is, deeply intertwined with the probabilistic and interconnected nature of the quantum realm. This dimension is really the domain of quantum entanglement, where particles can be linked across vast distances, and where the behavior of matter is governed by probabilities rather than absolute certainties. The 11-dimensional model proposes that the constant dynamic tension and interaction between these two fundamental dimensions, the expansive 10th and the contractive 11th, are in fact the very engines that drive all phenomena in the universe. This interplay gives rise to the universal wave, which is a fundamental field that, permeates all of reality. Particles themselves aren't seen as discrete entities, but rather as localized, stable condensations or knots within this universal wave, formed through resonant interactions between the 10th and 11th dimensions. So, gravity, in this model, isn't really a separate force, but instead, it's an emergent property of the 11th dimension's inherent contractive tendency, which gets localized and shaped by the deterministic influence of the 10th dimension. And, in a similar way, quantum behaviors actually arise from the probabilistic nature that's built into the 11th dimension. This framework, honestly, offers a potential unification of quantum mechanics and general relativity. Those two pillars of modern physics that have for such a long time remained incompatible. The hierarchical nature of the dimensions, where higher dimensions underpin and influence the characteristics of lower, emergent ones, along with the idea of a fundamental universal wave that arises from the interplay of the highest dimensions, really provides a fertile ground for exploring the principle of as above, so below. Part 3. 11 dimensions reflecting ancient wisdom, correlations and correspondences. The structure and dynamics of the 11-dimensional model offer remarkable parallels to the core tenets of as above, so below, suggesting a deep resonance between ancient intuition and modern theoretical physics. Let's examine some key correlations. The very architecture of the 11-dimensional model, with its sequential unfolding from a singular point of potentiality to increasingly complex and emergent realities, actually mirrors the hierarchical nature implied by as above, so below. The higher dimensions, especially the 10th and 11th, are foundational, and their interplay gives rise to the properties and behaviors observed in the lower emergent dimensions, like our familiar 3 spatial dimensions and time, as well as the dimensions describing motion. This can be seen as a scientific articulation of how the above, or the more fundamental levels of reality, influences and shapes the below, which is the emergent, observable universe. The patterns and laws governing the interaction of the 10th and 11th dimensions are, reflected in the structures and behaviors that manifest in the lower dimensions. From the formation of galaxies, which are driven by the balance of expansion and contraction, to the behavior of quantum particles, governed by the probabilistic nature of the 11th dimension, it's all connected. The concept of the universal wave, arising from the dynamic interplay of the 10th and 11th dimensions and really permeating all of existence, provides a compelling mechanism for the interconnectedness implied by as above, so below. Just as a wave on the surface of a pond connects all points on its surface, the universal wave in the 11-dimensional model links all matter and energy in the cosmos at a fundamental level. Quantum entanglement, a phenomenon where particles become linked regardless of distance, actually finds a natural explanation within the instantaneous and non-local nature of the 11th dimension and the universal wave it contributes to. This interconnectedness extends across all scales, from the subatomic, where particles are excitations in the universal wave, to the cosmic, where galaxies are formed and interact within the same underlying field. This, I think, really resonates with the Hermetic idea that all things are part of a unified whole, and that actions in one part of the universe can have repercussions throughout. So, the characteristics of the 10th and 11th dimensions can actually be seen as kind of analogous to the forces that govern the macrocosm and the microcosm, respectively. The expansive, deterministic nature of the 10th dimension really aligns with the classical laws of physics that dominate at large scales, like, governing the predictable movements of planets and galaxies. Conversely, the contractive, probabilistic nature of the 11th dimension mirrors the quantum realm, where uncertainty and interconnectedness prevail. The continuous interplay between these two dimensions suggests a fundamental tension that underpins all of reality, a sort of cosmic dance between order and chaos, expansion and contraction, which, interestingly, manifests differently at different scales, echoing the as above, so below principle. If consciousness, as explored within the framework of the 11-dimensional model, is related to specific resonant patterns or interactions within the universal wave, particularly involving the probabilistic nature of the 11th dimension and the deterministic framework of the 10th, then the principle of as above, so below could actually extend to the relationship between individual consciousness, the microcosm, and the universal consciousness or underlying order of the cosmos, the macrocosm. The ability of human consciousness to perceive patterns, to understand laws, and to experience interconnectedness might, in fact, be a reflection of the fundamental dimensional structure of reality itself. The cyclical patterns observed throughout the universe, from the orbits of planets to the life cycles of stars, and even potential cosmic cycles of expansion and contraction hinted at by the interplay of the 10th and 11th dimensions, these all resonate with the Hermetic emphasis on cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. These cyclical phenomena, observable at both macroscopic and microscopic levels, could be manifestations of the underlying rhythmic dynamics of the higher dimensions, further supporting the as above, so below principle. Part 4. Illuminating Ancient Cataclysms. Pole Shifts Through a Dimensional Lens. The Emerald Tablets, in some interpretations, allude to catastrophic pole shifts and other significant geological and astronomical upheavals in Earth's ancient history. While modern science acknowledges the phenomenon of true polar wander, basically a slow drift of the Earth's axis relative to its mantle, the tablets seem to describe more rapid and dramatic events. The 11-dimensional model might offer a novel way to consider such cataclysms within a framework that connects fundamental forces to macroscopic events. If the stability of the lower emergent dimensions, including the orientation of a planet's axis and the behavior of its magnetic field, is ultimately governed by the equilibrium and interaction of the 10th expansive and 11th contractive dimensions, then a significant and rapid shift in this fundamental dimensional balance could, at least in theory, have cascading effects throughout the lower dimensional reality. A sudden surge or imbalance in the forces governing expansion or contraction at the higher dimensional level might manifest as instabilities in spacetime itself, potentially leading to rapid realignments of planetary bodies or fluctuations in their magnetic fields. So, the stars changing their courses mentioned in the tablets could be interpreted within this dimensional framework, not necessarily as literal shifts in stellar positions in the short term, but more as a metaphorical description of a perceived shift in the overall cosmic order, or maybe a change in the fundamental forces governing the local region of spacetime, triggered by a higher dimensional event. And it's really crucial to emphasize that the 11-dimensional model, in its current stage of development, can definitively predict or explain rapid pole shifts by way of the Johnny-Bekoff effect. However, it offers a theoretical lens through which to consider the possibility of such events being linked to fundamental instabilities or dynamic shifts at the highest dimensional levels of reality. This perspective encourages a deeper investigation into the interconnectedness of all scales and the potential for profound macroscopic changes to be rooted in the dynamics of the most fundamental forces governing the universe. The correlation between the ancient principle of as above, so below, and the modern 11-dimensional model of the universe is more than just a mere intellectual curiosity. It suggests a profound and honestly enduring truth about the nature of reality. The model, with its hierarchical structure and the fundamental interplay of the 10th and 11th dimensions, giving rise to a universal interconnectedness, provides a compelling scientific framework for understanding the intuitive wisdom embedded in the Hermetic axiom. The mirroring of patterns across scales, the interconnectedness of all things, and even the potential for understanding ancient cataclysms through the lens of dimensional dynamics all point to a universe that is, really, deeply ordered and unified. By exploring these correlations, we gain a richer appreciation for both ancient wisdom and modern science. The 11-dimensional model offers a potential validation of the long-held intuition that the universe operates according to fundamental principles of correspondence and interconnectedness, while the ancient wisdom of as above, so below continues to inspire us to seek a holistic understanding of the cosmos and our place within it, reminding us that the echoes of eternity resonate through the very fabric of the dimensions. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support truly helps us create more content